Welcome to Not in a Huff with Jackson Huff, where we interview newsmakers, storytellers, and all-around interesting people. Sit back, relax, unless you're driving, and enjoy the show. Here's Jackson.
Hello. I am Jackson Huff. This is Not in a Huff. Thanks so much for joining me. This week, I have kind of another interview where I speak to two people from different perspectives. It's another one in the series that we're talking to Instagram influencers. If you'll remember, a few weeks ago we talked to influencers in the cosplay realm. This week we're talking to two influencers from the fitness world, from fitness Instagram. Same way, I spoke to one from the States. That is Sydney Jade from Sydney Jade Fitness. And then I spoke to someone from Europe, from Scotland, and that is Naturally Stefanie. So I spoke to both of them. You're going to find that they both had different things to say, but then quite a few things that were consistent on what made them successful. Really enjoyed speaking to both of them. They both had some really good insights on how to be successful with your fitness, how to be successful on Instagram, what happened to get them where they were and to get so many followers following their journey. The reason why I'm doing these is I just think it's interesting when it comes to people. Most people on Instagram are posting pictures of their dogs and when they go on vacation and things like that. But there's people that get on there and partner with brands and do some really cool things. Sydney, she is a college student, going to be a dentist. And then Stefanie, she actually already graduated from college, and she's made an actual career out of Instagram and a lot of other things to do with fitness too. So it was a pleasure to speak with both of them. Do know two things. One, both of them, there's a couple times that we had some minor audio issues, not a huge thing, but do I guess be aware of that, and then also be aware that Sydney I actually interviewed several months ago, so there's a few times that she may talk about something that's probably already happened. She was doing a big test to be a personal trainer. Hope that test went well and everything's good there. But without further ado, here is the first interview with Sydney Jade. And then we will go to the interview with Naturally Stefanie. I am here today with Sydney, who is an Instagrammer. That's kind of what we're talking about. The whole life of Instagram, influencing, things like that. So if you would, Sydney, tell us just a little bit about yourself. And I've already forgotten my manners, but thanks so much for being here.
So I am Sydney. I started a fitness account on Instagram in November of 2017. I had been lifting weights for maybe, I would say 3 or 4 months. And I noticed that there was a lot of women out there that were posting and influencing about fitness and how women can lift weights as well. And it's not just something that is seen like in more of a masculine community. So I wanted to share my own journey as I had lost probably 30 or 40 pounds. And I just wanted to share with other women my age and teenage girls that you don't have to starve yourself to lose weight or get fit. You don't have to work out for hours at a time. So I just wanted to share my journey. And that is why I got started over 3 years ago now.
I gotcha. No, that's awesome. So that kind of is a good segue. What do you classify your Instagram as? Is it a fitness account? Is it just overall wellness? Is it women's health? I know I've kind of, since we've set up this interview, I've kind of been watching your stories. You definitely talk about fitness, but you talk about a lot of other women's health issues too.
I would say the first 2 years of my account, it was mainly fitness, and I'm starting to transition into kind of my own, I would say, niche or brand. I'm no longer just fitness like everybody else. It's not a cookie cutter account anymore. Mm-hmm. So I have been considering changing my name, which is a big thing for me. I've had the same Instagram handle since I started it. But I'm a college student. I have recently kind of dove into the realm of sustainability and minimalism. So I kind of want my account to be more lifestyle and health rather than strictly weightlifting. So I kind of post everything right now, and it has hurt my account a lot. I've lost a few thousand followers over the last 6 months because of diversifying my page, but I'm hoping at some point it will make my page grow and people that like my niche will follow me. So it's kind of everything.
Yeah, so that's not something I would have thought about. That's kind of scary that if you
Yeah.
decide to kind of branch off just a little bit, then you start losing followers that easily. So is there people out there that just you're not talking about fitness, the exact thing they want to talk about, and then they just unfollow?
Yes.
That's
Anytime I
interesting.
start incorporating anything other than, hey, I just did squats and hamstring curls, people will click off.
I feel like that seems the opposite of what I would think. I would think that if you just talk about the same thing over and over and over, that people would be like, okay, enough of this. But when you actually start talking about more, they get off. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it can be discouraging because it's like I'm sharing all the things I love and people are clicking off and unfollowing. And so there's some days where I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Should I even have this Instagram account? But there's always the people that have stuck around for 3 years that motivate me to keep going.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like, obviously you don't want to lose too many followers, but I feel like that those who have stuck around are actually there for the right reasons, and they're probably your best followers. So
Mhm.
there's always kind of a quality and quantity, I guess. I'm sure you have very high quality followers now, but maybe not the quantity that you wanted.
Yeah, and that's fine. If you have high quality followers, there's more engagement. You actually know people. I have a handful of people that I talk to all the time. I've actually sent them products just because I talk to them all the time. So it's kind of better to have a smaller community of people that know you and love you. That's how I am with friends as well. I have like 3 friends, but
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
just, I'd rather have quality over quantity for sure.
No, I understand that. So I realized we didn't really say too much, and that's okay at the very beginning. But I just a little bit about you outside of the Instagram feed. Now, obviously, you share just as much as you want to, but
Mhm. So, yeah, I'm a college student. I am a junior and I am planning to become a dentist. I have, I guess, a year and a half left of college, but this May I will apply to dental school. So I'm already getting the ball rolling in that area. In my free time, I'm usually working out or shadowing dentists, volunteering. I did a lot of volunteering with hospice throughout my sophomore year of college, but with COVID, that's not a possibility anymore. So luckily, I had a good amount of volunteer hours before the pandemic hit. Um, what else do I do? I hang out with my boyfriend a lot, my best friend, and I've recently got really into digital illustrations. So I actually just started another Instagram account
mm,
for that because I noticed when I was posting some of those fun things on my account, people were unfollowing. So I was like, well, I'll just create a separate account where I can just post my artwork.
yeah, that's just crazy. That every little thing can make people unfollow. I've never been all that quick with the unfollow. I don't really remember the last time I unfollowed anyone, so that's kind of
Me either.
crazy.
Yeah, nobody really understands that in my family. They're like, well, why would so many people just unfollow you out of nowhere? I'm like, I don't know. I guess they like cookie cutter accounts. Some people do. So if
Yeah.
you kind of step outside of that, that's the risk you're going to take. But I feel like over time, if people find my account and they notice that I'm not cookie cutter and I'm more, I don't really know the word, but I feel like it will gain following over time. I always look at long-term goals rather than short-term, like, oh, if I post this, I could gain a lot of followers, but it's not really something I would want to post. So,
So how did it happen that you did start, I guess, attracting a following? Because I don't know exactly how many followers you have. It doesn't even matter. You can say or you don't have to. But how did you start attracting more than just the average person?
so my first year of my account, I went from 0 to 49,000. And I'm still at 49,000. So it shot up and it's just been up and down since. The very first year, I kind of told my high school friends about it. And then I got to college and told my college friends about it. And I don't know if the Instagram algorithm was different or I don't know why I blew up so fast. I was posting a lot of transformation photos, here I am at 180 pounds, here I am at 150. That brought a lot of people in. I was a brand new college student. I had just signed up with One Up Nutrition. So that kind of shot my account up super quickly in the first year. And then since then, the last 2 years or so, it's just been at a plateau.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's good that it's plateauing rather than going down, but obviously you always want it to grow. So speak a little bit about the community behind it. Like we were talking about earlier, when I've talked to other Instagram people in other areas like cosplay and things like that. They talk about how much of a community there is around that cosplay Instagram. So is it the same way? Do you have, a lot of people that are maybe have other fitness Instagrams that you've just become connected with that you probably wouldn't have without having that community, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Those are the people that I am closest with on my fitness account. I do follow a lot of other women that are in fitness, and we all just kind of lift each other up. We praise each other when we maybe added 5 pounds to our squat this week, or we hit our water goals or things like that. So there is definitely a fitness community. And there's a lot of women that follow me and look up to me because I guess I post about the imperfect things, you would say. Like I always post at nighttime when I'm super bloated and I look pregnant. And women love that because they're like, oh, fitness influencers are normal. They don't always have a flat stomach. So I do have a community of women that understand how real I am. And when I come onto Instagram and say, I ate 3 chocolate bars today because I was stressed, I have a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, I did that too. I'm sad to know that it's not just me. So there is a fitness community, but there's a community of women that have 5% body fat and never show what they're eating or what they look like after they eat. And then there's a community that I have where we're just real with it and we set realistic goals. Like just last week, I said that my goal was to hit 5,000 steps. And a few people were like, I thought the universal thing was to get 10,000 steps. And this is my goal. I have a lot of work to do at my desk today. So that is my goal. So setting realistic goals really attracts a lot of people.
Yeah.
I kind of veered off the question, but
No, that's fine. This is all just about a conversation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be question and answer there. So no, I like it. So I guess the next question I would have is, how do you deal with, the detractors or the trolls or whatever? Because, within anyone with a following has, people who are attracted to, I guess, not being all that friendly. So how do you deal with that?
I have not had much of that. I may have had I would say 3 or 4 people say rude things like 2 years ago. And I really haven't had that since. It's more so people with nasty comments about my body, like not in a rude way, but like nasty people that want pictures or things like that. That's what comes into my DMs more than rude people. And I hardly ever get a rude comment either that people have to see. So I have not had to deal with that at all. There was one time my freshman year of college, so 2 years ago, that some man said something about the amount of weight that I was lifting and said, you could lift way more than that. You're such a little girl or something. And all my followers just attacked him. And he either deleted his account or he deleted the comment. I don't know. But that's I really don't deal with that very much at all.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm not sure what's worse though, if you have to deal with a bunch of creepy people. I don't feel like that's any fun either, but
no, but I don't know. It doesn't hurt as bad.
yeah, I gotcha. No, I gotcha. So I want to talk about success when it comes to, advice you have for people in the fitness world, but then also the Instagram world. So maybe since we're talking directly about Instagram now, what advice do you have for people who, whether it's fitness or whether it's anything else, that they want to, I guess, grow their following?
I would just always say that do something you love. Don't do it for, fame or money or whatever the goals that people are always looking at. Do it if you love it. If you start an account for fitness or anything else and you don't actually love it, it's going to be very hard to keep up with. And your followers can kind of tell if you're really into something or if you're just talking about it to get the publicity, get the money. But to be successful, you just have to be yourself. And I always feel like I can't speak on being successful on Instagram because I'm constantly in a plateau. But, my family and friends remind me of the platform that I've grown. So I would say be yourself. I wouldn't say you have to be on there every day because a lot of people say, you have to be on there every day, 24/7. I have a lot of other stuff to do. If I'm not on there for a few hours, it's okay. I don't know. You just have to be consistent with it and you have to have a long-term outlook on it. That's just how I view fitness as well. I'm not ever in like a 2-week diet. Like it's just a long-term thing. I've been doing it for 3.5 years. I have months where I eat like crap and I have months where I eat great and work out. The progress is always going to be linear, at least for me, but you can definitely see big dips in it. I don't know if I answered that either.
Yeah, no, you did. So yeah, that's kind of what I've heard from other people. The big thing is consistency, which consistency is important in anything you do in life, but that's obviously one big thing. If you post and now and then post in a month and then you start posting for a whole week, you just have to be a little bit more consistent with it. So no, that's what I've heard before. So do you find, when you're talking about, obviously everyone has their good days and their bad days with everything, that I'm sure that includes, the fitness world. Do you find having, this page, does that kind of motivate you to have maybe more of those good days than you would have, or is it, or does that not really play a factor for you?
It can be back and forth. There's some days where my account motivates me to, talk on there and motivate other people, or it motivates me to go to the gym because I don't have anything to post. Then there's the other side of it, which is what I'm in right now. I have been for like 3 or 4 weeks where I don't want to get on there because I just see the numbers declining and I haven't had time to work out. So I have nothing to post. So in times like that, it actually like stresses me out when I wake up and I think, oh gosh, I have this account over here that's on the downfall and I don't feel like I can do anything about it. So it can be back and forth. I have months where it's motivating. I have months where it stresses me out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So when we're talking about motivation, it's good kind of segue to fitness. So what advice do you have to people who want to be more active, not necessarily want, a fitness Instagram, but they just want to be a little bit more healthy?
You have to understand that short-term goals, or not short-term goals, short-term like fixes are never going to work out in the long run. I'm currently in the process of becoming a certified personal trainer. That's what I'm doing over this break. So I'm learning more and more about how doing extreme things for a very short amount of time ends up hurting you in the long run. So setting realistic goals and things that you can track physically with your eyes is a huge tip that I have. I never encourage women to weigh themselves every day. The amount of water in your body can drastically influence your weight. That's why I like to post a thing on like Thanksgiving about my weight in the morning versus at night. Being on your period can make you heavier. There are so many things that fluctuate your weight. I was encouraged to not weigh themselves, but track things with their eyes and kind of just how you feel. So I love doing progress photos and I love just evaluating how I feel. There's days where when I eat healthier, I feel a lot better. And there's days where I eat a lot of fast food and candy and I feel worse. So when you're wanting to get into fitness, just write down things that would, make you happy that don't have numbers behind them. Like don't have a goal of, losing 5 inches on your waist in 2 weeks or losing 20 pounds in 2 weeks, because if you're weightlifting, you are going to lose fat and gain muscle. And so you might look better in the mirror, but people still let the scale get in the way. They'll message me, I've been doing weightlifting for a month, I weigh the same. And I'm like, but how do you look? How do you feel? And they're like, oh, well, I do look better and I do feel better. So that's just a huge thing I have with fitness. And you cannot cut your calories. Please do not cut your calories super low. it's going to mess with your metabolism, and it's going to make it harder and harder for you to lose weight in the long run.
Yeah, I gotcha. No, that's all good advice. So how did you learn, all of this? Is it just working in the fitness world, or does it have to do with your schooling, or how did you learn, all of these things about fitness?
Just my own experiences. I was the 13-year-old girl that was always on Pinterest looking up 1,000-calorie workouts that I can do in 10 minutes and, 300-calorie meals, things like that. And I learned that I, wasn't getting anything out of it. I wasn't happy. When I was at my heaviest, I was actually eating the least. So my body was just holding on to everything it could. It didn't want to let anything go because it thought it was like in survival mode, starvation mode, whatever you want to call it. So I actually learned all that through my own experience. And I am training right now to be a personal trainer. So I'm learning more about the science behind it. But it's definitely things that I've learned from my own experiences, which I try to share all the time on my platforms. I do have a YouTube video about my fitness journey from like when I was 14 or 15 until now, to talk about, what I was doing wrong and how I ended up getting to where I am today.
Gotcha. So obviously, you talked about not always making, this Instagram a priority, which you shouldn't. Obviously, you've got, a big thing coming with dentistry and things like that. But tell us just a little bit about, I guess, how you keep it running and your daily routine, not necessarily just with Instagram, but with everything in life.
So I'm very scheduled. I have everything planned out. Like I've had this podcast interview in my calendar since the day we set it up, like back in November, because I need to see and know when I'm doing things. And so I do that in school as well. I like to have like a handwritten planner, and then I also have a digitally written planner because I've done this a few times on my YouTube channel, but in my handwritten planner, I have like big tasks for the day, but I like to see things get done throughout the day. So if in my handwritten planner, I have like do 24 physics problems, then over in my digital one, I'll write like 8 physics problems, 8 physics problems, 8 physics problems. Hopefully that added up to 24. I think it did. And that way, when I complete 8, I can check it off, and complete another 8, I can check it off. So I'm very organized in that way. And when I'm in school, I have my classes every day. With COVID, it's a little bit different, but before COVID, I would have my classes. If they were in the morning, I would try to work out in the afternoon. If they were later in the day, I would try to work out in the morning. And it's really hard for me to keep up with YouTube during school, but I do keep up with Instagram anytime that I have a little bit of downtime, walking between classes or just taking a little study break. I like to go on there and maybe post something or comment on other people's things. And I'm not very social. It's funny because I have a big social media platform, but I'm not very social in real life. So when people ask me, how do you do all this when you're going to parties, or how do you do all this when you're going out to dinner with friends? I'm like, I don't do that. And I feel like a lot of people that have big goals in the future, like professional school, graduate school, anything like that, don't really have a lot of social time. A lot of us are just stuck in our little world where we're studying and doing things for ourselves. So my days are jam-packed. There's definitely days where I don't do enough. People say I did a lot, but in my head, I didn't do enough, and I'll beat myself up about it. But I've been trying to be easier on myself, but there definitely is a lot going on every single day. I have meetings with teachers. Now I have to start worrying about applying to dental school. There's just a lot going on, but
yeah.
Go ahead. One thing that I've heard recently that I love is that millionaires or the most successful people, or anybody that you look up to, has the same amount of time in the day that you do. We all have the same amount of time, so it's just kind of what you do with it.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. I teach at a university, and that's one of the things that, I talk about is time and prioritizing time. Everyone has 168 hours in a week. Not a single person has more, not a single person has less. And it's all about how you prioritize time. No one feels like they ever have enough. But, the example I always give is if your hot water heater breaks tomorrow and someone says, it's going to take 8 hours and you're going to have to be there to fix it, you're going to find that time. Where if some random person says, I need you to find me 8 hours, you'll be like, I have absolutely no time. There's no way I can have 8 hours. But when you have to do it, when you prioritize your time, you find it. So that's a big thing for sure. You're way more organized than I am. So that's, I think that you're already set up for success there. So you talked about being organized because you have a lot coming in the future. So tell us just a little bit about what you plan to do with your future, what your future holds as far as life, and then also what the future of your Instagram looks like.
So as far as my future goes, I'm in the honors college at my university, and for our senior year, we have to do a big capstone, but we start it in our junior year. So there's like a traditional capstone thesis where you can do a huge research project, 50, 60 pages of stuff, or you can do creative. And I decided to do creative and create my own fitness guide. This is the first time I'm saying this out loud to anybody besides my family.
Yeah.
But to do that, I wanted to be a certified personal trainer, just so my program would be adequate. And for legal purposes, if anything goes wrong and they say, who told you to do this? And I don't even have any credentials. So that is what I'm doing over this break. It is a lot of information. I wish I wouldn't have tried to jam pack it into 4 weeks, but I am. So I will be a personal trainer in 2 weeks if I pass the exam. And then I will go on to create my fitness guide. So that is kind of for Instagram and YouTube. That's my goals. And then as far as academic goals, I will be taking the DAT over the summer. I'm going to have to study for that probably 6 to 8 hours a day for about 10 weeks. And then hopefully I'll have some interviews lined up in the fall, and I will know the first week of this December 2021 if I got into dental school. So those are my big goals right now, is to get into dental school, become a personal trainer, sell my guide. That's the big stuff.
No, that's awesome. And I have absolutely no doubt that you'll pass both of those big things, because it sounds like you definitely got your priorities in line. So no doubt about it there. So how can people connect with you? They've listened to this. They're interested in learning more about Sydney. How can they connect?
So Instagram and YouTube are my main platforms. They're my only platforms, actually. My Instagram is Sydney J Fitness, just SYDNEY, the letter J, and then fitness. And then my YouTube is just Sydney Jade, JADE. I took the fitness part off of that because I'm trying to make it more about my life and not just fitness. And I am going to try to start an Etsy shop soon. I feel like I'm just all over the place. I have so many ideas and things going, but since I got into digital art, I want to start an Etsy shop and sell things to do with dental school, to do with college biology majors, and just some fun portraits and things like that for people. So I have created a video on my YouTube channel about studying for organic chemistry. Something kind of random, didn't have to do with fitness, but it has blown up over time. Sure. So, incorporating things onto an Etsy shop where people can use things that I make to study with or to teach other people with. So I may start that soon. And I did start the Instagram for my art, which is called Paisley Portraits, PAISLEY Portraits, because my dog is a mini dachshund and her name's Paisley. Yeah. So if you're interested in art, that's my other account that I literally just made. That's where you can find me.
No, I'll tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. I really appreciate your time. I wish you luck when it comes to, the fitness test, the personal trainer test you got, the dentistry test. You also luck with the Instagram, but no, it's been great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that was my interview with Sydney Jade. Really appreciate her being here and her insights. Let's, take it across the pond and speak with Naturally Stefanie. She's made a complete career out of her Instagram and her fitness and the things associated with that. A little bit different perspectives, some of the same thoughts, but let's talk to Stefanie.
I'm here today with Naturally Stefanie. Stefanie, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So yeah, this is kind of just part of the series on talking to Instagrammers, I guess influencers, if you will. This particular one with fitness. But before we get into kind of your fitness and wellness Instagram, just tell us a little bit about yourself as a whole.
Oh, as a whole, I've always been into fitness. I've always been into sport. I grew up as a swimmer and kind of moved from that into the gym atmosphere. And as you know, social media started to grow, I started posting that on there. So for me, I've always had a kind of element of sport and fitness and that kind of active lifestyle around kind of everything I do. So I suppose that's always been a big part of just me as a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so outside of even, being active, what else do you have going on? I mean, obviously, let's talk just a little bit about you as a person. Obviously we were talking about it before we started, but it doesn't sound like, you're my next door neighbor. So exactly where are you from and all that kind of stuff too.
Okay, so I live in Scotland, which is in the UK, for those that don't know. I've lived here forever. I've not lived anywhere else other than Scotland. I'm 27. I have a degree in psychology, but I have worked full time as a quote unquote social media influencer for 5 years now. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting point. So I've talked to other influencers that do, have a degree in something totally different. And then, they find, influencing and that passion and I guess, how do you feel about, I guess, your journey taking you in another direction?
I mean, I'm a huge believer in that everything happens for a reason, and what happens. And I mean, I kind of always thought that this social media wave that we're on would only last so long anyway, because things change so much all the time. So when I started my degree at university, that was the plan, was to be a psychologist. And the social media, like Instagram, didn't exist when I went to university. So by the time that kind of came on the scene, I was in like my last year of university, and that's when it started to gain a bit of traction. And I thought, oh, and then the whole world of YouTubers and people doing that as careers was becoming more popular. And I just thought, well, if I could ride this wave for a while whilst it's popular, we can always go back to the degree. Like the degree's not going anywhere, but the social media would. So I took the risk and went with the social media wave for a while, see where it goes, and then, we'll go from there.
No, that makes sense. So we'll kind of put a pin on that because I want to ask, I guess, future plans, towards the end. But tell us just a little bit about your Instagram feed. Do you classify it as fitness, as wellness, as lifestyle? I guess what is your classification for what you do on Instagram?
I mean, Instagram is where it actually all started for me, but obviously my business is out with Instagram. But I class my Instagram as probably fitness and lifestyle, because I do try and incorporate like some parts of me as a person into it, without it just being like strictly workout videos or things like that. And I think that's where other social media platforms helped. The likes of making YouTube videos, they're much more personal and much more like lifestyle-y, whilst tying in the health and fitness element of it, whereas Instagram is quite theme-based, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think I'm understanding. Did you say that I guess this all started somewhere other than Instagram?
Oh no, sorry, it started on Instagram, but my business that I run is an external, like I have a health and fitness website, so it's a subscription-based website, which the people who are on that website came from Instagram.
I got you. So how long, I think you said about 5 years, but how long have you been doing, the Instagram influencing, but then also, I guess, how long has it been able to be a full-time job?
I probably started the actual kind of influencing part. I feel like it's crazy how it starts. They're just using Instagram as everybody else uses Instagram, but I kind of started using it as more of like a food page and posting bits of workouts and things like that on it, probably about 6 years ago. And then as it started to gain more popularity, I kind of focused in on it, making it more kind of businessy, if you liked, and making sure it had like a service it was providing, so the health and fitness element, and not just me posting whatever like the kind of average person who uses Instagram does. So I've probably been full time with it just about 4.5, nearly 5 years. But that's not from Instagram alone. There's several different things that contribute to it. Because I think people don't understand that. They think, oh, so you just have an Instagram page and you make money. It's like, no. That was the foundation that allowed so many other things to come around.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm, finding. And that's what I like to talk to people about, because I think there's a lot of people out there that see, Instagram influencers and it's their full-time job and think, oh my gosh, would be so easy. Just post a picture every once in a while. And there's so much work that goes behind that. So I guess kind of tell us just briefly, I guess the work and dedication it takes to actually be successful, not just on Instagram, but as, a public persona, and to make sure that people see what you're doing.
So like I said, it started on Instagram for me, and what kind of changed it from just me posting my interests to more of a business focus was finding what like my kind of message was and what my niche was, if you like. So for me, I'm also vegan. So mixing that being vegan with the fitness, 5 years ago, people were just like, that doesn't work. That doesn't mesh together. So that was quite a unique kind of topic to have at the time. And just kind of building on that. So once I started building the Instagram, you kind of have to have your consistency with your niche and your message and what it is you're actually trying to put out. I mean, obviously there's going to be now and then, there's going to be just posts of you at the weekend, just like, I don't know, just a selfie, and it has absolutely no meaning behind it whatsoever. But the majority of your content has to be consistent, and keeping up with that and having a plan as to what you actually want it to look like. And then I started a YouTube channel, and it was tying that in with obviously the content you post on Instagram. You're not going to have a YouTube channel about something completely different from what you post on Instagram. You have to kind of keep it all congruent and make sure it flows. But obviously there's room to put spins on it. So now with the whole TikTok, like that's just a whole new thing. So it's kind of bringing in like health and fitness into 15-second or 30-second videos, rather than a static post on Instagram or versus a 20-minute video on YouTube. So it's just trying how to like keep it all going, if you like. It's very much like, number one, understanding your own niche and what it is you're trying to put out, but number two, understanding each different platform that you're on, and that they are all different, but trying to find what your focal point is. And then taking from them, like I said, I have a website that I run, which is, it's its own website that isn't on a social media, but your followers from social media are the customers on that website.
Yeah.
That's how
That makes sense.
build it.
Yeah. And I mean, you touched on a really important point about, I guess, finding your niche and then also, I guess, sticking with it. So, with the other person that I talked to with fitness, she kind of talked about how, at some points, because, there's such kind of a path that you're following, that sometimes that she feels a little bit constrained by it, because, sometimes she wants to post, something about women's health, or she wants to post something, maybe a little bit outside of that fitness realm. And she finds, when she does that, sometimes she'll lose 100 followers just for posting something that they don't completely feel like is in the normal realm. Do you ever feel kind of constrained by the niche that you've got yourself in?
I mean, I kind of have two views on it, because I feel like on the one hand, yes, because you do have a niche, but at the same time, I have found that people like to know who you are as a person as well. So what that comes with is your views and opinions and other topics outside of health and fitness. I especially found that on YouTube, when all my videos were solely health and fitness based, but people would say, oh no, can you vlog what you do in a day? Can you show your friends and family and that kind of thing? So there's always going to be people that don't agree with 100% everything you do. That's just the way the world works, and you can't make everyone happy. So as long as I'm not posting something completely random or contradictory to my message, then I'm happy to post things slightly off brand, if you like. If it's something that's important to me and I want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So do you have your own private Instagram for, pictures of your dog and cat, or are you like, I am done with Instagram when I am not working?
Oh yeah, I just have the one Instagram and that's it. I couldn't be running another one to show something, just because that's what I post. Like, I like posting what I'm having for my dinner, or I like to post, what I'm doing in the day, and I post that kind of stuff in my stories. And it might not exactly be, oh, like that's not a workout what you post in that, but like I said, people do care about who you are as a person as well. So yeah, Instagram stories are a great tool. They really are.
Yeah, for sure. So where do you find, I guess with the fitness Instagram community, I mean, how close knit do you find it? So when we're talking about, because, the person I interviewed is from the States, you're from the UK. Do you find that the community is very tight knit? Or are you all out there kind of doing your own thing? Does it kind of stay, it doesn't really jump across the pond, so to speak, or what do you think?
Well, I think it actually depends on how I've met people has been through working with different brands. So I have long-term partnerships with the likes of Gymshark. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're a clothing brand, and My Protein, who are a supplement company. And because this job is so like remote, you do it in your house on your laptop. Like, it's not, there's not like a space you go to and everybody who does the same job as you goes to this office and does it. You do it in your house, you're by yourself, and you just do whatever you need to do for your work. So the way I've actually been able to meet people in the same industry is by working with other brands and going to events with them. And they do, like I said, like events and different meetups and different things like that. So I've been able to meet people from all over the world who do something similar to me, who I don't think I would have met had it not been with working with other brands and companies. I think by all means, if you are online, you do comment on other people's stuff and you do like it and all this kind of thing, but you don't necessarily form like friendships that way. It comes down more to when you have that crossover, when you actually meet, or not even when you actually meet, but if you work with the same brand or if you have long-term partnerships that are the same, then you do just kind of get into conversation with them and it crosses over that way. But I'm finding new people every single day that I've never heard of, and I'm sure everyone's the same. Like, it's just an ever-growing industry, so there's always going to be new people.
Yeah, for sure. So you said that you do it on your own at home. Are you the one that's taking most of your own pictures? I know with some people they've got a friend or a husband or something that's their photographer. So are you setting your camera up and doing your exercises by yourself, or how does that work?
The stuff I do at home, so anything like kitchen based or home workout based, I do myself. I have my tripod, and I'm just running and jumping into the frame and taking the things myself. But if I'm doing workouts like in the gym or if I'm out and about taking photos, then I usually have someone help me.
I gotcha. Yeah. So I guess with that, I guess it's good to other people taking it. People are used to other people taking pictures, but do you ever find yourself kind of out in public and needing to take that, that shot? Because it's not like you just snap and shoot. Sometimes it's got to be a little bit more than that. Do you ever feel a little bit like this is awkward? This is kind of weird. People are going to think I'm doing weird stuff.
Yes. I mean, sometimes, to be honest, most of my content is actually at home or the gym. So at home, completely fine. Nobody's here. Nobody can see me. It's A-okay. And at the gym, I go to quite a small gym. Everyone knows everyone. I'm just that person now that videos their workouts, so it's absolutely fine. It's not like a judgmental place. It's the occasional time I've been out and about and I've had like my sister take photos. We're kind of like, oh, wait a minute. But at the same time, you also think, no, Joe, this is my job. I have to take the photo. Let's just do it. And in reality, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you're doing. They really don't.
Right. No, I gotcha. So, you did mention being plant-based and vegan. I guess kind of tell us a little bit more about that. I know you've got you do have a second Instagram. You said you only got the one. Don't you have Vegan Aesthetics?
That's my website page. Yes. So I do have two.
There you go.
Yeah, so Vegan Aesthetics is the name of my website. That is the subscription website whereby we run 12-week challenges on there. So there's a 12-week home workout program, gym workout program. All recipes are plant-based, that kind of thing. It's a community-based website, so people are all kind of doing the challenges together. They run 4 times per year, so there's constantly a challenge going. And how I got into being vegan was, so I've been pescatarian / vegetarian most of my life. I was a really fussy child. I don't like meat. I don't like the taste of it. I stopped eating it early teenage years. And like I said, I'm 27 now and I haven't eaten it since. So when I think it was about age 19 or 20 is when it's actually when I was on social media started coming out more, and I was on YouTube and Instagram and started seeing these people talking about being vegan and being plant-based and coming across all these recipes. And I just thought, that looks way more like the food I would rather eat than what I'm currently eating, because I was so fussy. And I love food and I hated being fussy. So I pretty much just kind of looked into it and I thought, this is for me. And here we are, 8 years later.
I like that. I like that. I like the word fussy. That's a nice British word. We wouldn't call ourselves fussy. I like that. That's cool. So like, I guess kind of a license to call me out here. You see me when when you're taking my drink of soda. Is that a no in your world? Do you drink soda?
I actually don't, but that's, again, I don't really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really for me. I'm a big water drinker. As boring as that sounds, I am.
That's a good thing though. Yeah, that's if you can get by with water, that's the way you should do it. I understand that for sure. So I guess you kind of laid it out already. But let's say somebody is starting, an Instagram, whether it's fitness or whether it's something else. What brief advice do you have for them? Other than the easiest one, which I'm going to take away from you, which is being consistently posting. That's what everyone needs to do. But beyond that, for sure.
But even consistency wise, I actually had this conversation with a friend last week who does the same job. And she said she used to be, religiously had to post on Instagram 7 days a week, like consistent. And we were talking, we said, actually, that's not what consistency is. Consistency is, you find what works for you and stick with that. So now she only posts between 4 and 5 times a week, rather than 7, but she finds that works way better for her. And also in terms of her engagement, her followers know which 2 days a week she doesn't post. So I think when people are used to your schedule, if you like, and know when to expect to see you, it just creates a more like reliability, and people do stick with that. So I post similar times a day. I tend to post around about 7 p.m. At night is when I post, just so people know when to expect it, and that kind of thing. Because it's very easy for your content to get lost on the feed. So if people are used to you appearing at a certain time, and then you're not there, they might go on your page and be like, oh, she's not posted today, or whatever the reason may be. But with consistency, it's finding your niche as well. And don't just try and copy what everybody else is doing because it works for them. If it's not coming out of you with passion and you don't actually enjoy it, that's going to come across. It's very obvious when people just do things because other people do it, and you're not going to follow. You're not going to follow that. So consistency, your niche, and what else? Plan. If you're on social media, you do have to plan your content in advance, so you know what you're doing, and so you keep up with 1 and 2. So if you have your plan of, okay, this is what my month looks like, I'm going to post this on this day, and have a rough idea, then you're going to keep yourself on track to stay consistent, and you're also going to stay within your niche because you've planned the content as well.
Yeah. So that by saying that you plan well, you kind of answered the next question there. But so you never really run into a time where you said you post at 7, never run into a time at 5 o'clock and you're like, I have no idea what I'm going to post today.
I mean, that is the odd day that does happen because, different things crop up. So for example, if I have an external collaboration with a brand. So as you know, influencers do, like one-off collabs with different brands and brand deals and that kind of thing. So if I was scheduled to post a workout video tonight, but I'd planned that 2 weeks ago, but actually this brand over here wants me to post this on that day, then that obviously changes your schedule a bit. And sometimes you're not on the ball and you think, oh, well, I'm not posting this now and I'm posting this instead and that kind of thing. But I mean, I don't stress out about it anymore. If there's ever a day where it's, oh no, I don't have anything to post, it's a case of, well, actually I've posted the majority of this week. So if I don't have anything to post tonight that I want to post, I'm not going to just force content either.
No, that makes sense. So you touched on it too, but give us, I guess, some of the cool opportunities you've had now in the 4 years since you've been a full-time influencer. You talk about kind of traveling the world, but just highlight a few of those cool experiences.
I mean, it's definitely been able to work with such big brands that, that when you first kind of got on social media, you just think, oh my God, this brand's amazing. For example, like the Gymshark and My Protein that I've worked with now for over 3 years, the both of them, it's been able to work with them and going to all their events and all the things they do, because they do events so well, they really do. And you get to meet a lot of people who are number one in your industry, but you meet a lot of people who also follow you on social media as well. So there's a lot of events that are based around like kind of meet and greet and just getting to meet as many people as possible. So that's always fun. And I do normally travel for those, even if it's still within the UK, because nothing happens in Scotland. We have to go to London most of the time. But yeah, it's that's definitely the best part of it. And, working with other brands, you do get to travel to different places and things. So it's, that's definitely it. It's just meeting people that you would never have met. I would never have met before. Like I've met people from Australia and America and all these places that I just probably wouldn't have met otherwise.
Right. So how is, I feel like it may be actually not necessarily beneficial, but not a roadblock when COVID happened, given that you do a lot of your workouts from home, and that is kind of part of your brand. So how did that affect, I guess, your profession?
To be honest, COVID didn't really affect it, in the content that much, or the business in general that much. It was just a slight change in the content you post. So I normally train at the gym and my workout videos were normally gym based. But obviously when gyms closed, the content changed to doing workouts at home. But as much as that originally I thought, I don't really want to do that, I don't like working out from home, that's not really what I enjoy, everyone was on the same boat in that nobody could go to the gym, so everybody needed home workouts. So actually you were still providing a service that people needed, but whilst it wasn't exactly what you would usually do, it's what you had to do. So it still worked out fine, and everybody still eats, so the recipes were fine.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, what we were talking about earlier, take the pin back out of it, and what do you think the future holds? You sound like kind of, you were talking about earlier, you don't necessarily know how long, this whole social media thing's going to keep on. And, you do have a degree. What do you feel like your future holds? Where are we going to see Stefanie in 10 years? Is it still going to be, kicking out those home workouts, or do you think you think something else is in store?
No, I think so. Originally, when obviously social media first started, the degree became the backup plan. I thought I can always go back to that. Now I have no interest in going back to that whatsoever. I just enjoy what I do so much, and it just gives you a different way of living as well in terms of working for yourself. So I definitely want to stick with that. And whilst it might not necessarily be social media focused, I think social media will always be there. So I always anticipate, so for example, like my subscription website, the plan is just to grow that and then to expand from there. So whatever that may include. But I think social media will always be used, side on with it. It just won't be the sole focus. You won't just rely on partnerships or collaborations or anything like that, or YouTube views and things. You'll use them as well. But I think the plan is always going to be to bring that into your own business and growing that.
No, that makes sense. So, we've talked about your Instagram, we talked about your website. Tell everyone how they can find, you on Instagram, you on TikTok, you on everything.
Well, my name is just the same across Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and that is Naturally Stefanie, and that's spelled with an F because it just is. And I also have a vegan cookbook on Amazon, and like I said, my website is veganaesthetics.co.uk, and that is just our 12-week plans and subscriptions, so definitely check that out as well.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Really appreciate your time.
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely.
So that was my interview with both Stefanie, Jade, and Naturally Stefanie. Hope you enjoyed that. Whether it's finding new fitness people to follow, definitely recommend both of them. Stefanie Jade, remember she's Sydney J Fitness on Instagram, and then Naturally Stefanie is Naturally Stefanie, but with Stefanie with an F instead of a PH. Really enjoyed speaking with both of them. They offered some really, really cool insights onto how they became who they are. Some fitness tips, some tips on being successful on Instagram. I think those are all really cool. Like I said at the beginning, I wanted to create a series that we talk to people who probably get your likes on Instagram, but we don't really know how they got to where they are. So I think that this podcast was an interesting one for that, and I really appreciate you being here. Definitely check them both out. They were just a pleasure to speak with. Like I said, thanks for being here. Hopefully you'll check me out too. Do check out the other podcast. I've interviewed people from all walks of life, from actors to Olympic medalists to survivors of all kinds of things. Just a different person every week. Check it out. Subscribe, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, all that kind of stuff. Check me out on Instagram. We're talking about Instagram. My Instagram is Not in a Huff Podcast. So appreciate you there. Appreciate you being here this week. See you next week, and take it away, Chris.
This has been Not in a Huff with Jackson Huff. Thank you for listening. Be sure to join us next time, where we will interview another amazing guest who is sure to make you laugh or make you think. Or, hey, maybe even both. But until then, keep being awesome.